Right now on Today in New York, primary day all wrapped up. The candidates still in the race to replace Mayor de Blasio, the key moments and the road ahead.
Also this morning, a disturbing attack in broad daylight. What police say this man did and why it's being investigated as a hate crime.
Plus, getting back on track, the MTA set to take up major transit challenges today as they meet in person for the first time since the pandemic began. Morning, everybody. Wednesday morning. It's June 23rd. I'm Darlene Rodriguez.
I'm Michael Gargiulo, and Emily West is here for Lauren Scala, tracking our roads and rails. And Storm Team 4's Maria LaRosa is here. Today's forecast, so different. It's great.
You know that Jackson 5 song, Can You Feel It? Or is that Michael Jackson?
Can you feel it?
Can you feel it?
Oh,
can you feel it? Can you
get it, girl? Yeah, that song is a good song.
That's my it's on my playlist for today.
Yeah. I don't know what to say.
Because it feels amazing. This is it's 4 a.m.
I got
it's
you.
Like
I'm
one
with
more
you.
glass of one more cup of coffee. We're about 15 to 25 degrees, cooler than we were 24 hours ago. These kinds of numbers, this kind of dip is tough to find sometimes in summer. So we have it. Let's show you the numbers. 57 right now in the city, 49 in Poughkeepsie, 42 in Monticello. You still have some clouds hanging on. The last blast here from Islip to Eastport, but even here, still a good amount cooler than yesterday into the 50s. So once we get all the clouds to clear, all about sunshine. 71 degrees at noontime, low humidity, picture perfect, 75 and mostly sunny by 5 p.m. and a great evening ahead, 68 degrees by 10 o'clock. All right, I'm going to put my karaoke mic to the side, Emily. How's traffic looking?
We got to pick that back up later, though. All right, FDR northbound, 79th, 96, 2 lanes blocked for construction. Also dealing with road work at the Verrazano Bridge. The Staten Island bound upper level, 3 lanes blocked, lower level lane taken up. Brooklyn bound lower level, that's going to be closed. George Washington Bridge, that upper level looks pretty good. Lower level both ways. You're going to find construction closing that right. And the New Jersey Turnpike, Eastern Spur southbound. Construction here between the Eastern Spur merge, Western Spur merge, down toward the Southern Mixing Bowl. Michael, Darlene, back to you.
Thanks so much, Emily. All right, it's now been 7 hours since the New York City primary polls closed, but as we expected, the mayoral ballot's far from set.
So we do have at least a clearer picture as you wake up this morning. On the Democratic side, Eric Adams, he's on top right now, followed by Maya Wiley and Catherine Garcia. Andrew Yang.
Yeah, he sits fourth right now. He conceded last night. The other candidates in the race pulling up single digits. Today in New York's Tracie Strahan is in the newsroom with the primary night highlights and what's ahead. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. When the polls closed, of course, there were celebrations amongst the candidates in the Democratic field, but for some, it was certainly mixed with uncertainty. As you said, there wasn't a single candidate who received more than 50% of the votes that would make them the clear winner. Now that new ranked choice voting system will determine who rises to the top. Now, Eric Adams took to the stage amongst cheers last night. He even held up a jersey, a Mets jersey that had mayor written across the back. Now, with the votes setting him up to be the front runner in that crowded field, he acknowledged that the ranked choice voting system hasn't made him the apparent winner just yet, but he still celebrated his standing so far.
We know there's going to be 2s and 3s and 4s. We know that. Right. But there's something else we know.
Take your time.
That New York City said our first choice is Eric Adams.
Now, with no outright winner declared, candidates Maya Wiley and former Sanitation Commissioner Catherine Garcia both celebrated their positions, and both of them also said that the ranked choice voting system could still give them the push that they need to triumph over Eric Adams.
And what we celebrate today is that we have a path. It's not just a path from Maya Wiley to electoral victory. Well, we have that path too.
That's right. That's right. Come on. Come on. Come on.
Because it is simply facts that 50% of the votes are about to be recalculated.
And as expected, this is going to be a ranked choice election. This is going to be about not only the ones, but also about the 2s and 3s. And to be quite honest with you, we're not going to know a whole lot more tonight than we know now. That it is going to come down to opening up those ballots and making sure that every single New Yorker's voice is heard.
On the Republican side, Guardian Angels founder Curtis Sliwa was the clear winner over challenger Fernando Mateo. Ranked choice voting, not a factor in that race because there were only 2 candidates. So what's next now on the Democratic side? Here's a breakdown. We don't begin to open absentee ballots until a week after Election Day. That's going to be June 29th. The Board of Elections estimates it will have the vast majority of those absentee ballots counted by July 6th. And so that's when they're predicting they'll be able to run those ranked choice rounds on the ballots. Now, keep in mind, no count can be official unless the absentee ballots are part of the equation. And more than 87,000 absentee ballots had been received by the city. That was as of Monday. Michael, Darlene, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks so much, Tracie.
Now, as Tracie said, Curtis Sliwa did cruise to victory in the Republican primary. The founder of the anti-crime group, the Guardian Angels, handily defeated businessman Fernando Mateo. He got nearly 70% of the vote. Now, Mateo has conceded to Curtis Sliwa.
I really didn't expect to win. I really didn't think I would win, but I said, let me give it a shot. Let me see what I can do.
I am the man who relates to the average people in the city.
Well, Sliwa says he's committed to beefing up law and order in the city, increasing support for the homeless and mentally ill, and converting city animal shelters to no-kill shelters.
406 right now in the Democratic race for city controller. Brad Lander leads the pack, but he doesn't have enough support to overcome ranked choice voting. Outgoing city council speaker Corey Johnson trails by about 9 percentage points. Michelle Caruso Cabrera is third. It could be a while before we learn the outcome of the city controller race. Well, we will have more primary results throughout the morning. And remember, you can always find the latest results on NBCNewYork.com and the NBC4 New York app.
Coming up on 407, happening now, the Hate Crimes Task Force is investigating a disturbing attack on an Asian woman in Manhattan. We say this man walked up to the victim West 26th Street near 6th Avenue on Monday just before lunchtime, kicked her in the leg and back. Then when a good Samaritan came to help her, police say the attacker threatened him and the woman with a knife and then took off. The victim did refuse medical treatment for an injury to her leg and back.
Our 407 right now. And happening today, the MTA board comes together in person for the first time since February of 2020. The agency has a full agenda as the city fully reopens, including service issues and safety concerns. Today, New York's Erica Byfield's in downtown Brooklyn with more on what's on the board's plate. Erica.
Hi, Darlene. Well, the mayor is convinced that the city's comeback is going to be tied to the MTA and its service performance. And right now, the mayor is not liking what he's seeing. He wants to see this agency hire more workers as soon as possible. This is also happening at a time when the MTA is seeing surging ridership. Friday was actually a record-setting day for the first time since March of 2020. More than 2.5 million people rode the subway. Close to 122,000 used Long Island Railroad, and 104,000 took Metro North. The news, though, is not all good. The state-run agency has also had a lot of service delays and train cancellations, primarily because of staffing. MTA leaders blame the pandemic hiring freeze and the time they say it takes to train new employees. The mayor told us he just wants this issue fixed.
If they've got to find a way to recruit more personnel, whether it's bonuses or whatever it is, that's their job to figure it out and get it done. So I think all New Yorkers should be calling upon the state to fix this immediately.
So back out here live, you hear a train going underneath my feet at this moment. The latest report from the MTA showed in May there was a 94% of on-time service for the subways and 95% for buses. While that is high, we're hearing from leadership that's not as high as it was last year. Reporting from Brooklyn, Erica Byfield, News 4, New York.
Erica, thanks so much. Well, turning now to the latest on the pandemic. Dr. Anthony Fauci has a warning, especially for those who are not vaccinated.
The Delta variant is currently the greatest threat in the U.S. to our attempt to eliminate COVID-19.
That variant ravaged India. It is highly transmissible and severe. Dr. Fauci says it now makes up 20% of all new cases, doubling every 2 weeks. We're told the vaccines are effective against this variant, but the White House says they're worried about a slowdown in the vaccination rate.
Now, just over a week from today, Connecticut will officially allow the recreational use of marijuana for people over the age of 21. Governor Ned Lamont signing that bill, saying it was a long time coming. And here's what it says. Anyone 21 or older can carry 1.5 ounces of marijuana and keep 5 ounces secured at home or in a car. It also requires half of all licenses to sell marijuana to go to black and brown entrepreneurs who own and control only 65% of those businesses.
I strongly believe that if you have a bill that generates $250 to $300 million in the first several years, it's very beneficial to the community that I serve.
Local leaders can still block cannabis retailers from setting up shop, something opponents of legalization intend to do. Now, the new law does take effect next month, July 1. Recreational dispensaries, they could open, though. It'll be later. It'll be May, perhaps, of 2022.
All right, 4:10 right now on this Wednesday morning. Maria LaRosa is looking at the weather.
And it is looking good. The humidity is gone. Temperatures are cool. Maybe a light jacket around the boroughs. We have Brooklyn at 57, 59 in Queens, down to 54 in Staten Island. Clear, cool, 57 in the Bronx. Right now over the city in Manhattan, 57, a few clouds, but you can see full-on sunshine through midday, 71 degrees at lunchtime, 77 for the high, and a nice brisk northwest wind about 10 to 15. There's the front that's starting to clear the clouds right now for the eastern end of Long Island. No sign of rain for now, but we're going to be watching this zone right here that could bring back a few clouds and a few showers before the week is out. So I'll take a look at that heading into the weekend in the 10-day forecast.
Maria, thank you so much. Still ahead, the legal actions following the helicopter crash that killed Kobe Bryant and 8 others. What we've learned overnight about a settlement.
Also ahead, the much talked about voting rights legislation fails in the Senate. What party leaders are saying as Congress moves ahead.
And already some service change this morning on the subways on the A, D, N, and Q lines. We do have some overnight track work on the 467 Staten Island Rail, EF, JRL commuter rails. They look okay this morning. Let's get a line check on the Verrazano Bridge, where that is moving along on the upper level, but there is road work on the lower level. I'll touch on that and where else could possibly slow down when Today in New York returns.